Hey guys, Roller King here, coming through with a quick video, and we have a tier list. Listen, sometimes I just gotta make that low effort content. Sometimes you just gotta hear my voice talk. Alright? So basically, disclaimer when I make this tier list. Basically what I'm valuing a lot, especially as someone that's played on 3 accounts, 4 accounts right now, as free to play. Most of these characters, I'm just gonna judge them based on if you're free to play, how much value I think they have, just overall, how easy they are to build, and how flexible they are as units. So, like, say for example, we have March. March you can basically use on any team, and if you invest in her, you could just bring her everywhere, and she's a lot easier to build than, like, say, other characters. So a character like March is going to be rated higher than, like, I don't know, some other random character on the list. That's why you watch the video to figure out. If you want to just skip to the end, you can. I'll put timestamps if you're just interested in what I have to say about one specific character. But yeah, let's not dilly-dally, because these take a while if I talk too much. And let's just start. Also, if I put your character low, it's my tier list, so you could just screw off, I guess. It doesn't matter, like, every character in this game is good, so... Well, every character, speaking of every character, in my opinion, except for Fizz MC, I think that's, like, the best way to segue into this. This character is absolutely dog shit, in my opinion. I used him, I invested in him, and I thought that he would be a lot better because you get his Eidolons for free. He's just a damage dealer that doesn't hit hard enough. He doesn't tank enough for a destruction character. So, he's just subpar to me. I mean, if you don't have anything else, especially at the start of the game, if you're just starting the game right now, you're probably going to be using him, you're going to be forced to use him. But the only positive of this character is that the resources you use to level on him becomes one of the best characters in the game in terms of preservation. Speaking of preservation, we'll talk about Flame MC. See, the segues. I'm learning, guys. I'm becoming a better YouTuber. The Fire MC is really good, really cheap to build. Gives you that damage reduction on everybody on your team. You get the Eidolons for free as well, and she keeps your team alive pretty decently. The only downside I would say to Fire MC is that you have to use skill points to use her her kit to the fullest. But as a support character, her break-in is really good, especially since she doesn't do that much damage, but if you're against fire weak enemies, she breaks really well because of her enhanced auto attack after you get enough stacks. Yeah, there isn't much else to say about them. They're just, I think they're the baseline, or a bit above of what a preservation character should be. Has that taunt, keeps your team alive, gives everyone that shield and damage reduction. One other thing too is that sometimes her taunt can miss. So that's the only thing that's keeping them from S tier. If their taunt was guaranteed and didn't rely on enemy effect res, then I would definitely put her higher. But for now, I'm just gonna keep her in A tier. And speaking of an A tier character, shoot, I wanted to segue to something again, you know, make it seem like this is scripted, but it's not. I'm just off the top of the dome. Yeah, we have Tingyun. So Tingyun, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna say S. Like, she's borderline A, S. I'll see after we play some more characters, but this character has everything. It gives you an attack boost, it gives you energy. Betelgeuse literally gives you every bonus that you need, especially if you have E1. The only thing that keeps this character balanced is that she's single target. She only buffs in single target, but she's one of the best supports in the game, and free to play, if you pull her, there's no reason for you not to invest in her. But on the account that I have her with, or have her on, I was thinking with, because she's basically married to Jing Yuan. She does everything that you need. You especially want E1 on her so she can give your main DPS that speed boost. So yeah, there isn't much else to say about Tingyun. She gives you literally every single buff in this game besides defensive buffs. So yeah, I think she's an S tier character. Reevaluating it, I thought she was A, but when I think about it more, she's definitely S. Definitely recommend building if you're free to play. She's really good, really good. Speaking of Jing Yuan, literally married to this character. Okay, so Jing Yuan, I'm kind of I'm gonna put him in bottom of A. The only reason I'm putting him at bottom of A, say you have Jing Yuan and you don't have Tingyun, how are you playing the game? Like, it feels weird because I don't see how you can use this character without her. Like, he just needs way too much. Even though it is worth it at the end of the day, after you say you get your 10 stacks, the Lightning Lord comes out. He does basically single target damage in AoE. But the problem with Jing Yuan is that I feel like he uses too much resources to the point where I can't comfortably say he's an S tier character. Because I feel like if I was buffing as him as, like, say I'm buffing Serval or any other DPS as much as I have to buff Jing Yuan, it's just like, at that point, is it Jing Yuan that's awesome, or is it just all the supports and stuff I have around him? And I have his light cone for him, so my Jing Yuan isn't like he ain't no bum. Like, he's decently built, and for how much damage he's doing, I'm just like, bro, my Zila or something hits way harder. Jing Yuan, I just feel like he underperforms, and I think due to part of that is because Lightning Lord has so much problems with it. Like, if he gets stunned, it just stops. He just stops working. He just goes back to the end of the line. That's like his biggest problem. One of the ideas that I had for him is that maybe his skill should do more. Like, Jing Yuan's actual skill, like, let the character be a character, because they feel like two different characters. Like, Lightning Lord is an S tier character, and then Jing Yuan himself is like C. So I was just like, maybe have his skill be like a damage bonus or something like that. And if Lightning Lord is like, I don't know, like CC'd or something, at least he gets that damage bonus on characters. Like, he has more stacks that build up on his E, and if Lightning Lord is pushed back, then it activates, and then it gives the stacks back to Lightning Lord. Or Lightning Lord, even with 5 stacks, does a decent amount of damage. Not the same as 10 stack, but it's enough to where it's just like, if I get CC'd, it doesn't like basically ruin all the setup I've done for him. But yeah, it just takes too much. The fact that Lightning Lord just doesn't work sometimes is the reason why I have him in A. That's just the entire reason. I'm just gonna put all the characters I don't know about, and I'll just talk about them right now real quickly. I would put Yangqing in A or S tier. From what I've seen, this character performs really well. Is the only caveat to him for free to play, and why I was thinking A is because you need a lot of like shielding and support around him. So you're basically pigeonholed into build and March, and or I don't know if Fire MC can do it. I've never seen anyone run Fire MC with Yangqing unless they do it in tandem with March, right? Obviously, if you have like other characters like Gepard, you can do this. You keep his stacks up, but once you do keep his stacks up, he is like, I think the second best single target damage dealer in the game. I could be wrong, second or third, and he performs really well. But because I don't personally use him, and I don't know how difficult it would actually be in like most content, I'm just gonna put an I don't know, and we'll leave it at that. But he's definitely hovering around like low S, high A for me. Let's also go for Himeko. So Himeko, if I was gonna place, she'd definitely be B. The problem with Himeko is that I don't see what this character is supposed to excel in, because even her own like passive or gimmick, it kind of needs other characters to do that for her, like to break enemies, because most of the time when you're breaking with her skill, like it doesn't even, I believe it's just like it does like 60 toughness damage. I could be wrong, But like most higher end characters, like she's not breaking them with the AoE. Like she's not even self-sufficient. Like, cause I'm pretty sure like the guy mobs, the silver main guards, if they're weak to fire, you break the main one and the side ones will get like half their toughness bar broken. So that means you really need other characters to help her do that, which is kind of weird. But I just think erudition characters aren't in the best spot right now. Lots of people have been saying it. It seems like single target damage kind of just runs this game right now. Even when you're versing like 2 big enemies, it's still not the best. So that's where I have Himeko, but that's only from like my knowledge from using her support. I don't know 100% she could be better than I think. So I'm putting her I don't know because I don't have her. Let's go with, well, my eyes gazed at her and usually want to run over to Himeko. I'm gonna put Asta in A. She's at the top of A. If you have E2 and above, I would say she's an S tier character. But below, like, I'm assuming E0 for most like free-to-play players because you get her for free. I'm gonna keep her in A. Her only downsides is that she struggles with single target content. And you literally just can't bring her to something if it's single target and it's not weak to fire. Like it's just not good. Because even with E2, you're probably keeping up like 2 to 3 stacks at most, which isn't bad. That's like I think like 30% attack boost. But her value, I believe, is just in AoE content, like when you have more than one enemy or if they're fire weak, right? She's one of the best support breakers in the entire game, even better than Fire MC in my opinion, especially since she does it in AoE. But in single target, she just destroys enemy shields, especially if they're fire weak. Her speed buff isn't that good early on, but later on it definitely helps. I've used her. It makes characters like Hook, I don't have to build as much speed, get me that double cycle. Yeah, she's one of the best free-to-play supports, and she's very cheap to build, so that's why I have her so high. She's borderline S. She's borderline S, because even in those single target scenarios, as long as they're fire weak, she still brings that value, right? She still brings that value. So yeah, Asta is a very good character. The fact that they give her for free is, I don't know, it's almost criminal. Like they lost money giving away that character for free. Speaking of a character that they didn't lose money for giving away for free, I'm gonna say March. Lots of people like March. They say March is really good. I don't see it, but that's because I'm probably spoiled for choice, because I run Gepard, and then on my other account I usually only run Fire MC, right? So I don't, yeah, like on my other account I run Fire MC and Clara, and I don't think the Clara March build is that good. It's not terrible, but it's not as good as people hype it up to be, in my opinion. The thing with March, it just feels bad. For me, it just feels bad using March because you need that skill point for just like one character. And sometimes it just feels like she has a lot of wasted stats. To this day, I've never frozen anything with March, like in any serious content, because like she's like Amber from Genshin Impact, where if you want her to be optimal in one situation, her other stats kind of suffer. You're not building effect hit rate, you're not building attack, right? You're mostly gonna go for that defense. And obviously I'm talking about E0 or even 1 March-ish. If you have like E4 and up where you get that cleanse, that could definitely see why people rate this character higher. If she's like E4 and up, I'll put her somewhere similar to Trailblazer, right? To Fire MC. But if you have her lower cons, then definitely not. And I was unlucky, I did not pull that many marches. And I have the GOAT, so that's kind of why I'm just like, March just feels weird to use now. Maybe I'm just biased, but she doesn't feel as good to use for me. And speaking of the GOAT, yo, this is my boy. Gepard is the GOAT. And when I say he's the GOAT, I mean he is him. Okay? like Gepard is he's daddy. He just keeps everyone safe. He's comforted. He can solo protect a team, and because of that, I was just like you don't have to worry about healing or anything like that. You can run more offense in your team, more support that way. He basically takes up like a preservation of Munda's slot because of how strong he is. The only weakness with this character is sometimes he does get CC'd, and that's the only reason he's not SSS to me, is because sometimes he just can't do his job because he does get like CC'd and he leaves your team vulnerable for a couple seconds. And MOC, the characters hit hard, that's sometimes enough to get you killed, especially since usually you don't run him with a healer. Besides that, his other skills are meh, but his ult just makes up for his whole kit. That like he's still just that good. If you're a free-to-play player, he's easy to build. So if you definitely get Gepard, definitely build him. His value just keeps going up, and you can run him with Garbofax, and this man will just, he's your home, he's your rock, okay? Or your ice, I should say. Bailu. So Bailu, if I was going to rate, I'd have her in like A tier, probably the top of A tier. I don't know how valuable the revive is. I know she has a bit of damage reduction and she has amazing healing, but I don't feel comfortable 100% saying that Bailu is just like SSS tier or must pull, or you must need this character, because we kind of do have enough options, especially coming now. Soon we're getting more healers, so if I had to rate Bailu, I'd definitely put her in A tier, probably top of A tier. I feel like she's maybe a little bit, actually, yeah, I'll say like that's her spot right there. I would rather Bailu over a Jing Yuan, and I don't think she's as valuable as Asta in most cases, because it is just healing. She doesn't have a cleanse. So yeah, but we're gonna put her in I don't know because I haven't play tested her. So yeah. And speaking of healers, Natasha. So Natasha, right, in my old tier list, she would be like A, like high A, like right here. But now that we're getting to the point where we're going to get more healers, we have Loucha in the game. We're getting this character soon. I saw it in a dream. Her value doesn't keep going down, because I find myself not using Asta, especially since I've pulled for supports early on in my main free-to-play account. Now my Natasha, all my investment into her, the value is starting to go down, because even though she does have that cleanse and that emergency heal with the ultimate, she doesn't provide much after that. Like, she's still good. Like, B tier is the good tier. Anything in B and up, I always recommend building to just fill in those slots or elements that you need. But Natasha, yeah, she's just, her value's gonna keep going down as more healers come out. Of course, like, she's the standard, so you're gonna, if you're above Natasha on the tier list, is because you add something else, right? Bailu has the revive and just better healing in general, but she's the gold standard of healers. And if you're free to play and she's probably your only option, you're in that like I don't know, abusive relationship you can't leave because you need her, definitely get Natasha. And Natasha's not abusive though. She's a lovely lady. She's a lovely lady. Yeah, I would say B tier. I don't see her dropping below this either. Like, she's not gonna get worse unless they add more ridiculous healers. But she will always be here, your physical healing physical healer support. Let's go with I want to keep you guys in suspense. I'm gonna say Serval. So Serval is really good. She does decent damage. The more Eidolons you get on her, the better. She's just a good DPS, and this is gonna be like a continuing trend. They're just a good DPS. She has shock. usually you don't have to worry about toughness too much when you have DOT damage. But if they're weak to electric, you build Serval, bring Serval. But at the same time, tomorrow she should be at the bottom of B tier. I just don't think erudition characters are that strong. If you're pulling for Kafka, like at the time this tier list comes out, because I'm making this right before Kafka comes out. If you're pulling for Kafka, I would just hold out and maybe not build Serval. You might use her with Kafka, but at this point, it's just, I don't know, like in terms of erudition, it doesn't feel good to use these characters. If you highly invest in her though, she will definitely put in work for you, but I just don't recommend building Serval yet at this point in time. But say you pass Kafka or you're not interested, she's definitely worth building. She's in that B tier. Let's go on to the next character. Oh, forgot to put Bailu in the tier. Xingque. So Xingque, with Eidolons she gets better, and that's kind of the story for all 4-star DPS. Eidolons make them better. You don't have the Eidolons, I wouldn't recommend them as much. She's close to an A tier though in terms of damage. If you do have the Eidolon 4, I believe, that gives you back the skill points. It's just that her lows are really bad, and that's why I can't really recommend building Xingque unless you start getting those extra Eidolons. Unless you really like her, or you're fine with like a protection squad that doesn't use as many skill points, and you just like gambling. I mean, you're playing a gacha game, so I assume you like gambling. You just like gambling away, just bop, 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 skill point, skill point, and then you roll for like 5 damage, and then you're just like, okay, that's fine. If you can live with that, if you have ascended to a monk and you've reached Nirvana and have no more attachments to anything bad or good happening in life, Xingque is the character for you. If not, then she's definitely a B tier character, and you want to hold off until you get like that E4 if you don't have any like quantum DPS. But she's really good. She's really good. Hook, I use Hook a lot. Hook, she does really good single target damage, good decent AoE. I usually run her in mono pyro team, and that's where I get a lot of the value out of her. But yeah, the only thing she needs is like, you need her more like with a bit more setup, because you want someone to set up that burn for you if you can. If not, she could do it herself. Like, she is self-sufficient, and she is a destruction character, so she's a bit tankier. So especially in those early MOCs, maybe she's a DPS you like because you just don't like getting like one-tapped by everything. Hook is definitely that character. But I would rate her just a bit higher from what I've used and seen. Xingque probably, I think she outdamages her in AoE, but Hook is just better single target. So at that point, it's just, is it the right element you need, or is it the right type of damage? But like I said, I value single target a lot more. It's just a plus that Hook does more AoE damage. Yeah, good pyro DPS. I would recommend building her if you do get like E4 on Hook. If not, as free to play, I would hold out and see who else you could get. But yeah, that's the Hook, the master of the moles, or the captain of the moles. Arlan's trash. Okay, next. Listen, okay, I'm sorry, I actually don't know, bro. Who uses this character? I want him to be good because, yo, that's my nigga, bro. What do you mean? That's the only tan skin boy, you know, my tan skin brother in the game. But like, listen, he's ass, okay? I haven't seen anyone use him. The only time this dude's been good is in that event where he got his ultimate back every freaking second. That's the only time I see Arlan doing something worthwhile with his life. Yeah, I don't know though. So maybe if you're an Arlan enthusiast, change my mind. Is he actually better than Fizz DPS Trailblazer? Is he worth going up here? Maybe, but I don't know. This character is an anomaly to me, and I don't think I want to figure him out anyway. Alright? let's go with Sushang. So this is a story of like every 4-star DPS. I feel like they're all B tier, and you're gonna use them against the elements that you need them. Sushang gets an extra skill point on her E1, which allows her break-in and like skill point efficiency to be so good. Usually I don't recommend building her unless you have that E1, if you know what I'm saying. As free to play, like it feels, I'm not gonna lie, it's felt pretty bad using Sushang so far in the early game. I feel like she gets better the more you invest into her, but at that point it's like every character, and then we start splitting hairs. So that's why I can't really put her that much higher. Her single target damage though is really decent, but I don't know. Yeah, she's just somewhere in B tier. I don't really have much to say about this character. It's cool that she gets the other action, but like outside of physical enemies, I just don't see myself using this character at all. Especially since she needs to break them to do that her extra hit, her little you know. Welt. So we have Welt. I'm gonna put Welt in I'm gonna say S tier. The only issue with Welt, especially as a free to play, one thing with Welt is he is an expensive character. You see that drip he has on? Yeah, that's Louis Vuitton scarf right there in Kane, alright? This man needs to be dripped out to do the most, because he's a jack of all trades, right? He's been around, alright? You can look at it, you can see it in his eyes. This man has seen everything from the beginning of the universe to the end of it. So the thing with Welt, if you even as a free to play, you could get him to the point where he's super strong. He's really good in like slow teams and whatnot. His ult gives that damage bonus and what, and he also offers CC. So, and he's really good at breaking, especially if you don't have imaginary, right? So you don't have to use the other imaginary option, which we're about to get to. Yeah, Welt is really good. He becomes better with the more you invest into him. So if you feel like he's not doing a lot, it's fine. He's gonna feel like that until he starts doing a lot. But even then, his utility is awesome. I'd recommend him running him with like a Dang Hang if you are free to play and you feel like investing in Dang Hang, make that slow team, push back enemies a lot, and then you can cycle stuff. But Welt is amazing. He does good damage. He does good utility. He does everything. So I think he's definitely S. One thing about him though is sometimes it's hard. Like you can't just slam him in every team. Right, that's why I was thinking of putting it down to A, because he can't be your sole damage dealer, I think. But it really depends. Like you can't just bring him to like everything and he just claps it, right? So that's why I'm just like I'm iffy putting him into S. But I feel like he's S once you get to that point, even as a free to play player, where he's just like that sub DPS on your slot. So we have Pela. Okay, so Pela, she is good. Some people say you can't bring her to content where you need ice breaking. I'm just like, I don't agree. I bring Pela to anything where I need to kill things, which is usually everything in the game. Or if they have, I need buff removal. So Pela is really, really good. Her Eidolons make her a bit better in terms of just making her a little bit more efficient, giving her the energy recharge and upping her personal damage. Her damage is very low, so that's why I don't have her in the same tier as Tingyun. Usually people have them together, but the thing is just that it's because she's Nihility, and like her buff, even though her debuff is really, really strong, and it's basically team-wide, right? Because everyone gets a boost that way. If they don't have buffs, you basically have a dead skill, right? So usually you're just not doing anything outside of when your ultimate is up. So you, basically with Pela, you're basically ulting, and then after that you're kind of rushing to get your ult back up again. And That's kind of the only downside. That's the only thing that's keeping her A. But the fact that she's an A and she's just an ult bot, kind of like Gepard, like these two are carried by their ultimates. Like the rest of their kit is so cheeks, but their ultimate is that strong that it keeps them this high. So yeah, that's Pela. If you're free to play, definitely invest in her. Words are hard. Definitely invest in her, and she'll do you good. Eventually, you're gonna only be using her in those debuff removal or ice teams, but she's definitely a free to play character that you can use anywhere, and she doesn't need. She's cheap. She doesn't need that much investment. So I definitely recommend building that character if you do get them. Let's go with Yukong, the other imaginary character that I was trying to segue into, but I forgot. Yukong is B for me. Probably the top of it. The thing with Yukong, she's kind of restrictive. Like the teams that you can run with her, especially, she's kind of expensive as well, depending on who you're running with, because you have to speed tune her towards what your team needs. Like speed tuning her to my Selee was a nightmare, because my Serval I've already had faster than my Selee, right? So then my Yukong was too fast when I first started building her, and then I would lose the buff because Yukong would go, and then my Serval would go, and then my Loucha would go, because I build most of my supports trying to hit that 134 speed, so they're pretty fast. Well, yeah, and then my Selee wouldn't get anything. So if I want my my Selee to get the buff, I had to slow down some of my characters, and I don't know. I don't think she's that good. I'm not gonna lie. I personally, she's really good at breaking. If you don't have an imaginary character, and that's kind of what's keeping her in like this higher echelon of B, is that because she's imaginary and you don't have Welt, as a free to play, you're kind of like pigeonholed into building her. But I don't see the value, and that's my only issue. She doesn't have the value that I think she should as a support. Like, I don't want a harmony character that's restrictive, right? I want to have something like an Asta. Give everyone a tap boost, I don't have to think about it. I have my Pela, debust everything. Unconditional, basically. She has unconditional support. Yukong, they restrict it so much, even though she gives a lot of stats, like the crit damage and crit rate bonus, really good. But it's just like, I feel like I have to work really hard for it. But this is just my personal opinion. I wouldn't recommend building Yukong until you start getting to that later stages where you have like 6 diamond characters, or you're fully maxed out at 80 out of 80. Until you have those characters built up, and then you're just like, okay, it's time for me to have that imaginary unit. I haven't pulled Welt, and I skipped Loucha. Okay, it's time to do a Yukong. Like, she's literally like the last option on this list, in my opinion, if you're going to build. Next, we're going to have Sampo. Okay, so I've built Sampo. I think he's fine. He does his job. He's a really good breaker. He's really skill point efficient. But besides that, I don't really have anything else to say. Compared to the other DPS on this team, I wouldn't build Sampo over them. Yeah, that's about it. He does good AoE. He does good damage, just not as much as these two, or these three, so 4. Sorry, I cannot count. These 4 units. That might change when Kafka comes out and you're pairing him with Kafka, but for right now, I have Sampo right here. Let's see. Oh, Blade, our newest edition. So if I was gonna rank Blade, it'd definitely be an S from what I've seen. I have my friend's account that I've been kind of using to test him out a bit, but I'm still unsure. There's a lot of controversy around this character for some reason, but right now, Blade, honestly, really good AoE character. He seems more like an Erudition character, even though he does single target-ish. Which is weird. Like, he does a lot of AoE damage. He's more like of an Erudition character, like a good one. Like, that's what Erudition characters should look like, actually. Now that I think about it, they should be hitting like this dude, or have like his utility, right? Without as much setup as like say Jing Yuan. But yeah, I have him at S. I'll put him in I don't know because I haven't done enough testing. I haven't had him long enough. So he's gonna stay on there. But if I was gonna place him, he would be at the top of S, right? That's where I'd have Blade. He's a very expensive character though. That's something you have to keep in mind. So if you're free to play, just keep in mind he's super expensive, and you have to run him with someone that could keep him alive at least, which every team needs that. So that's kind of a nitpick, but that's why he's an S tier character, right? There's just that one thing that maybe isn't perfect about him, or not perfect, but he needs that little bit of help. He needs help, but not that much. Speaking of hot men, our first SSS tier, Himulus Prime. I know I said Gepard was him, but he's him. See, he got two S's because it's him. All right, this Loucha. Okay, and the thing with Loucha, I was going to skip this character, and I got him on accident trying to pull Yukong. Right, this man, this beautiful man, is so good. I didn't think he was this good. Like, you don't understand. If you have Loucha, bro is cheap. You give him fingernail clip-ins for payment, he said that's enough for the week, bro. I'm eating good. Bro can use the set, like the farming for him is awesome because it's the same set. You can either go Wheat Whacker or you can go the healing one. I forgot the name of it. He performs with all of them. I have Garbofax on mine right now, and he instantly heals everyone to full. I haven't seen him not heal someone to full, and it's just weird to me. I'm just like, what is happening? This man has an insurance on healing. Like, he heals so much that he's healing into the future. He has a 401k on healing. I'm like, he's so good. He has a cleanse, he has the buff removal. The only downside of his kit is that he doesn't have that emergency heal, quote unquote, because he kind of still does, as long as he's not CC'd, right? And no other healer can even use their buttons anyway if they're CC'd. So he does have that emergency heal with his passive. It's just that it's single target. That's literally the only nitpick I could think. But he's an SSS tier character, right? So I have to reach for this. I'm basically like, I'm his parent, bro. I'm the overachieving parent, or the parent that has high expectations. I see him doing like 97%. Why didn't you get the other three? Loucha is one of the best free-to-play options in the game, and if you have him, you're lucky. All right, keep that man down. Put a ring on that man, okay? Put a ring on this man. He's goated. And there's one thing I learned too while I was playing Loucha. He's one of the only healers that heals you even when he's CC'd, as long as he has domain expansion, right? That's the only thing too. Loucha, he needs his domain down to do his job, but it's so easy to proc that it's just like, I won't really hold it against him. And there are ways to keep high uptime on it anyway if you have the superimposed 2 of Natasha's icon. So yeah, Loucha, great. I don't even have him fully properly built yet, and he's performing so well that I don't even use Gepard anymore. Gepard is like my favorite character in this game. Like, there's times where I just, in auto and everything, unless it's like MOC, I don't even use good Gepard, and he's incredible. But yeah, Loucha is he's just that guy. I didn't rate Dang Heng. He does single target damage, and it's wind type. There you go. He's really good in slow teams, especially with Welt. I wouldn't put him over Sushang, but he has really good single target damage, especially once you start getting more Eidolons on him. He has, I think, like the 3rd or 4th best single target damage in the game. So if you want to build a wind DPS and you want to do single target damage, he's the best character for it. I mean, at this point, all these characters, if you're waiting for a 5-star variant for them, they're just gonna suffice until you don't need them for that DPS of that element. So that's why I'm kind of just like, I have these in B tier because if you're free to play and you have that 5-star variant, I don't want you to build Serval when you have Jing Yuan, basically, right? That will come out in the future. Well, I don't know about Jing Yuan. Okay, let's just say Welt because I don't know about Jing Yuan. Okay, that's not his. It's not his section. We're moving on. Okay, Herta. Herta's really good. Put her bottom B. Most people would pair her with Trailblazer.
Hi, this is post-edit Rolly. I really like Herta. I've been using her a lot, but she's not that good. She's honestly a little bit worse than Fizz MC, but Fizz MC is a bitch. So there you go. So everything you hear me say right now is a bunch of cap, and I'll save you all the trouble. She's probably in D tier with Fizz MC.
But yeah, it's mostly just personal bias why she's B. I wouldn't say I would say she's probably like here actually, but FU is my tier list. I'm putting her in B tier. I like Herta. I don't know, man. I don't want to mislead you guys. All right, I would say build her if you're free to play, right? And you don't have Yangqing, right? Like say you had like it's so specific. You didn't pull Yangqing, build Herta, okay? If you're free to play, she would be the last unit that I would build though. Oh my gosh, I don't want to be disingenuous, cause like okay, like Yukong is literally the last unit you should build as a free to play, and then there's Herta, so C. Okay, I do. You know what? I'll feel better if I do this. Yeah, I feel better if I do this. Yo, I'm just dogging this guy today. Don't build this character, bro. He's so shit. He's so shit. Okay, now we get into the cream of the crop. Clara. So Clara is borderline SS tier. She kind of struggles with the same thing Jing Yuan does, whereas it's like lots of build up, especially if you run her as a DPS and you support her. But then she could just get cucked because she gets CC'd, right? And if you get CC'd as Clara, your ultimate doesn't do anything, and if those 2 turns pass and it's just gone. And that's happened to me so many times, and there's times where she just doesn't get hit. And it's weird because the math guys will tell me, oh, everyone is her taunt rate is super high, even though it's not 100%. It's basically like 72% or something, and divided by everyone else in your team if you use like hunt characters or harmony. No, like sometimes she just doesn't get hit. Like it's just weird. Like Tingyun gets taunted more than she does sometimes, even when I have my ult, and I'm just like, bro, this doesn't make any sense. She needs a decent amount in like artifacts and stats to be really good to do her full potential of damage, and she really doesn't do anything besides the taunt. So like, if you think about it, Clara literally just stands there and does nothing if she doesn't get hit. So that's kind of why I have her in S tier. And you're gonna be like, what? That doesn't sound like an S tier character, a character that doesn't do anything. Yeah, but when she does get hit, or when Mr. Zarog sees you doing some stuff you're not supposed to do, this man goes sicko mode. Absolutely just destroys AoE. Kills everything once he starts getting hit, especially when she does get focused. Like sometimes it does happen where you get 1, 2, 3 enemies hitting her, especially with the silver main guard. Like that boss gets eaten up by Clara, especially since he spawns different mobs. But sometimes it feels like with Clara, I kind of, if she's the focus of damage on my team, I kind of have to like lie to myself, like keep enemies alive kinda, so I can hopefully get hit more or something like that. So that's the only reason I have her in S tier. Like I just can't have a character that potentially doesn't do anything, especially if my team is built around them. And if you're not building around Clara, then it's just like you kind of just have to wait and expect her to do her thing, because she's kind of a preservation character tied into one. And if she doesn't do anything, then it's just like I'd rather have like a harmony character in that slot, or an actual preservation character like Fire MC. So yeah, that's why the reason why she's S. in the late game she's really good too because she becomes a DPS again and not like just a tank. So yeah, Clara's really good. I don't see her going down for a while. Maybe like when you get more hyper offense teams, she's basically gonna be the preservation unit. And yeah. So now we're talking about the 3 best characters in the game, in my opinion. Right? But I'm just gonna say this, yo, if you don't agree that at least one of these 3 are the best, I think you're wrong. But obviously, like, everyone has their own opinion. Wrong opinions. Okay, I'm kidding. Don't crucify me, please. Listen. Let's go with what I think to be the 3rd best character in the game. Who would have seen this coming? So, I have Selee. This is the character I use the most. Listen, she is the benchmark of single target DPS. If a DPS comes out and they're not hidden like Selee, I don't want them. Okay? Selee is the best DPS in the game. Period. Period. Point. Period. Boo. Period. Exclamation part. Part? Mark. Words are hard. Yeah, Selee is just that crazy. She's just res pen. She hits everything for neutral, at least once she gets her reset. Or if you use the technique. She's basically almost a harmony character because she buffs herself with the damage boost. And she's like kind of nihility because she has that res pen. Oh, bro. Once you start going, like, this character just doesn't stop. You already know the memes. It's my turn, then my turn. Selee is just a crazy unit. She's just a benchmark for 5-star DPS. If a character comes out and you're not performing at the same level or as similar, like, people compare other DPS like Blade and Jing Yuan to Selee. That should tell you everything you need to know. Obviously, if you're watching this video now and you don't have Selee, then it's kind of like just wait for her return, or hopefully they have new DPS that are just as good as her. But right now, you can bring her to any content and she slaps. So I just think she's like the best, one of the best characters in the game, the best DPS in the game for sure. I want to keep you guys in suspense, to be honest, because it's just like, no, I'm trolling. Yeah, okay, so if you can't tell, yeah, I think the other character coming up is the best character in the game. But they're the same person, so can you really call them like different entities? They're both the same person in the Honkai lore. Bronya. Oh yeah. Selee's weakness is that she uses a lot of skill points. So you kind of have to think about that when you're team building. Alright, there you go. She's SSS for a reason. Bronya. Free to play. Cheap as fudge. Cheap as the dirt, like fingernails. The fingernails that Loucha dropped on the floor. Bronya is just like, hey, I can use this. That's how cheap she is, right? Super cheap to build. You don't even have to build crit rate on her, and if you for some reason need to auto attack with her, just full crit damage, right? She has an attack crit damage boost on her ultimate, cleanse, moves action forward, and damage boost. You can slot her into basically every team in the game. The only issue I can see with this character further down the line is that her ultimate, maybe like say like there's a defense scaling unit or like an HP scaling unit where they don't get that much value from the attack scaling, but like that's like nitpicking because she has crit damage boost on it anyway. So this character is just insane. Bronya is, if you say she's the best character in the game, I can see it, because she literally can go anywhere, and the only issue with her is like maybe you get like one shot, but I don't think she's even that squishy. Like she's squishy because she's harmony, but like she's not that squishy from when I've used her. Obviously she still needs protection. Yeah, I guess that's her only weakness. Like she can get killed, but like everyone can get killed. Oh, well, not Gepard, but yeah. She's the best character. There's nothing else to say. If you're free to play and you have her, just build her. You don't even have to put a lot into her. So yeah. And the best character in the game, in my opinion, a god amongst men, or a goddess, I should say, Silverwolf. Listen, just take it what I'm about to say to you. You don't build teams according to the enemy. You build teams around Silverwolf. When people think of Mono Quantum, it's not because, oh my gosh, Quantum is that powerful. No, they're facilitating Silverwolf. The game is warped around this character. You're playing, like, an account with Silverwolf is totally, completely different than an account without. She's not a must pull, obviously. If you don't have this character, it's not like you can't play the game. It's just that I'm just playing the game easier than you, okay? So, Serval literally makes everything easier, even when you don't... Like, say she didn't drop the element you needed, right? She's one of the best debuffers in the game. She has one of the best free-to-play Lycons, so she's hella cheap. If you missed it, it's unfortunate, but there's still other options that you can use. She's not a subpar character in any means, even if you don't have the signature Lycon. But yeah, she just warps the game around her. Her debuffing is just so powerful. I think the only, like, quote-unquote weakness I could say, even though she's SSS, is that she's not really AoE oriented, and she does use that skill point. Like, say you're in an AoE situation and you want to drop multiple weaknesses on enemies. I think that's the only thing I can say. Like, yeah, it's a bit sucky, especially if you roll the wrong one on that second target and it's AoE, but her debuffing still makes up for what she brings to the table, especially since she drops element res. So yeah, she's the best character in the game. Bronya are just super powerful. You literally build teams around her. Like, you don't even think about the enemy anymore, because it's like you're thinking, okay, I have Silverwolf on this team. I need to facilitate her now. And for some people that could be a negative also. I could see that in some people's eyes, just like, listen, I don't want to have to build like a fire healer just to play my Silverwolf more. The thing is though, is just like, you could just get lucky, right? You could just get lucky and be like, F it. I could go in there with like half the team, basically every team a different element, teammate a different element, and just be like, okay, yeah, we're just doing this now. But nah, Silverwolf I think is the best character in the game. This is a tier list. It's done. It still took 56 minutes. I tried really hard. This is like my third take of this, and I really tried hard to make this short, but it's still long as fudge, bro. I barely talked about a character in depth. Like, I went somewhat in depth, but not that in depth. And I don't know, man. Maybe I just suck at making tier lists. They're always freaking long as hell. But I just like talking to you guys. I like talking about characters and the content. Tell me what you guys think of this tier list. Who would you move up? Obviously, if it's like more than one slot, then it's kind of just like, alright, if you take Clara, or no, I'm gonna take Himulus Prime. If you take Gepard and be like, yeah, he's SSS tier, I'll be like, I'm not arguing with you. You know I'm not arguing with you. If you say Jing Yuan's S tier, I'd be like, alright, sure, I don't see it, but I understand where you're coming from. Oh, this tier list isn't ordered. Actually, hold on. I mean, the top is ordered. You guys should, yeah, I'm just ordering this and see. These ones are idle ones. Yeah, I just put them about the same. Single turret damage rate have a bit higher, and yeah. So this is like the order and like how you just, if you're free to play, right? This is the order of like characters I think you would build. If you were free to play, but you just pulled all these characters simultaneously, this is the last character I build. This is the second last character I build. This is the third last character I would build. And then so on and so forth. So yeah. Thanks guys for watching. If you actually made it to the end of the video, props to you, because I don't know. This is the tier list. Yeah. You're still here? I thought you left. That's why I'm kind of just stopping. Alright, you leave a like. If you actually stayed for this little extra part, like, bro, just leave a like. Please, help me out. Alright, easy. Oh yeah, my outro. I didn't say my outro. Stay happy, stay healthy, and see you all next time. Okay, maybe I'm not becoming a better YouTuber. Oh man.